Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, as usual, we'll take few minutes for ourselves to understand how this meditation practice will help for us to develop our clarity in awareness. So, today we're going to talk about this self-control. So as you know, it is a very famous word and most of people use it in day-to-day life. And they try to bring some kind of effort themselves to change their life. And out of just practicing self-control. But when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, and especially if we focus to the early Buddhist teachings, and we have to understand that there's a little bit different than self-controlling, because that this self-control can lead us to misunderstand the very essence of life. That's why when it comes to meditation, when it comes to your inner development or inner practice, you have to be very careful regarding this word called control. And because once you have the self-control, once you have the effort to control the self, as a result of that, by the time your attitude regarding the outside world going to change, what is the change can happen, then you start to change the outside world, which we can't do that. So why this is that this self-control doesn't work? So first we have to understand what we mean by self. Then we can see how we can control it. Because when it comes to this self, we believe there is somebody exists in us without changing. That's where the idea of self comes. So what we take as the self, we represent this body, our names, our feelings, our consciousness, ideas, thoughts. That's all we represent as ourselves. But when it comes to your body, as you know, it's always change. 24/7, it's always go through vibration and go through the change. And every 7 years to 8 years, from head to toes, everything completely change. Even the bone structure also change. So like after 7 or 8 years, you get a very brand new body. So then just imagine. Then we can't take the body as self. Another thing is when it comes to that 5 aggregates, form, feeling, perception, volition, and awareness or the consciousness. So out of these 5, the 4 things belong to the mind: feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness, awareness. So that all change moment by moment. So then this change we call as impermanence. So then what we see through our eye, if you try to control the outside things, that whatever that exists outside world as eye objects, there's no such the permanent thing exists. Even though maybe we can't see it, it's always change. So then we have no power over outside world to control. So the control, the very idea come out of that our own inner intention to keep it in a certain way, the way we want to hold it in a certain way. And so as we know that outside things change, and then that what we recognize through our consciousness or the awareness, so come out of the eye consciousness. So the object and the eye, and together contact happen, and out of the contacts, feelings arise. And then the feelings, volitions, perception, volition, and consciousness. So that's a process. And as you know that what you see by your eye or the eye consciousness is not permanent. It's just happened for a moment, and maybe in the very next level, your ear consciousness arise. So with the sound, the object to the ear, and the ear, and then the contact, feelings, volitions, perception. So this kind of things arise. So then that sound also, ear consciousness not also going to be permanent. And the nose, the same thing, object and the nose, contact, feelings, that all going to change. The body, the same, the taste with the tongue, the object and the tongue, connection or the feelings, tongue consciousness, change. The body and the mind. So then just imagine when there is an idea come for you to control something. So as self-control. So what you take in that very moment as self, so deeply go through the change. So then you can't hold it to a very permanent, solid, concrete idea regarding what you experience. So, and at the same time, these outside things change. So if the both change at the same time, from where that the effort can come to control something, or how you can keep it something in a certain way, and who can keep it? Because you change at the moment, same moment, the outside object change in the same moment. So, and out of that change, what we understand that impermanence. So the impermanence bring the unsatisfaction, or another way called the suffering. And if something is impermanent, and then it is suffering, and if it is suffering, you can't name it as self. If you can't name it as self, you can't bring the idea of control. So then you have to be very clear. When we use the word, the self-control, or we try to control something outside, it's just become only a struggle. It can be a mental or physical. That the struggle itself brings us the unsatisfaction. Because the control, that very idea come out of the desire. And another thing is it come out of the comparison. Then we try to hold or keep something the certain way, the way we want. And we try to maintain things according to the way we want. But that everything arises as a part of causation, cause and effect. There is no such a thing, or there is no such a permanent event going to happen anywhere, even inside or outside. So then, if there is no such a thing, how you can bring the idea of control? And because that when you have the intention to control, that means you try to maintain it certainly. So that's why always remember that whatever happens within in yourself or with the outside world, rather than try to control something, try to understand how it come to be as it is. Why it is there like that, why it happened, why you go through this. So that will bring a certain kind of understanding regarding the causation or the cause and effect, dependent origination. And then once you see the reasons, that reasons will bring a skill or wisdom for you to understand how the method or the pattern develop. So that understanding will help you to change the situation according to the way you want, or according to the certain the cause and conditions. So that is totally different than we try to control. So because when we go into the kind of like a control, that's kind of like we go against the nature, and then we develop a kind of like a resistance, and there is no wisdom when it comes to control. But when the change arises, when we change something that happened out of the very understanding regarding the method or the system or the pattern, how it came to be as it is. So through the meditation, we're trying to develop that wisdom or the understanding. So then don't try to control the mind, because there's no such a permanent entity, concrete something exists itself without changing for you to control. And there is no such a person. So if there is no such a person, no such a things permanently exist, There is no something you can name as self-control or mind control or even object. There's no any outside things that you can control. So be very clear with that. And once you have this understanding, what will happen when some situations, rather than interfering to it, you little bit back up, move backward, void from the moment, rather than interfering, go into it. That voidness create a gap in between your thoughts, your actions, and the event. So that is where your mind, that your awareness become more sharp or the clear to understand the system. So otherwise, always as ordinary people, most of time we are more ahead from the timeline or the situations or from the events that we create it inside us. We create it, and out of that creation, what happens? Our bodily, verbally, mentally actions follow that and develop the our life. So that is what we call the existence. So then in day-to-day life, when you do something, always remember and bring the more flexibility to your mind rather than resistance. And be humble with experience of the things and learn to accept things. And in that way, you create an environment for yourself to keep the balance. So that balance is very necessary, even with sitting. So when it comes to meditation, and some people try to explain kind of like something mind control. So then remember for yourself, don't try to control the moment of experience. Just try to recognize. Just try to see what's happening. Keep the awareness towards that rather than bringing your self-centered idea, or rather than your own inner intention to interfere with the experience. Just see it. So that way you will see. In a certain level, your awareness becomes sharper and clear to see this change and be with that change. That being with the change by moment itself, develop the power of consciousness or the awareness, and by the time it itself become the bliss, because you become being itself consciously moment by moment, and that pattern by the time bring the bliss to yourself. So that is where that tranquility state develop a very good foundation, and we call undisturbed mind. So once you have that undisturbed mind, then we go to the vipassana level to understand deeply your inner experience. It's moment by moment, how things change. And then you recognize that outside, the object and the subject, and what you experience and the experiencer, this all moment by moment change. And the very moment of existence that we experience because of the change. So once you understand that, you always more settle down with the change rather than trying to maintain something the way you want. So that is where we completely get out of the idea of control. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit. So your right palm on your left and neck head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself. And say Supatveva or be well and happy 3 times. And take a moment and think, we gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me, may all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of inhalation and exhalation. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow it to happen itself. When it happens through the sensation, recognize inhalation as inhalations, exhalations as exhalations. Do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also, as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away. Already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all 6 directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance, or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata chammihi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Imaya dhamma nu dhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi Addaya imaya patipattiya jati jaravya maranam ha paribunjisami Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.